Jerry, this is old Don Falls from Coos Bay, Oregon. You wanted me to send you this tape. I'll see if I can remember some of these guys' names and places, but I didn't think I'd ever forget them, but some of them are slipped my mind. But I'll give it a try. I was in the National Guards, and we were called up in September of 1940. We were supposed to go up for a year. We were stationed at the mouth of the Columbia River at Fort Stevens. Before we got our year served, President Roosevelt passed a bill, and our time was extended to another 15 months. Of course, before we got that 15 months in, Pearl Harbor came along, and we were stuck forever after that. Being stationed at Fort Stevens, we became the only Army post in the United States to receive enemy fire during World War II. It was, I don't remember exactly what the date was, but this Jap sub fired on our base. We were on 10-inch disappearing Seacoast guns. And this Jap had us zeroed in. He fired 9 rounds at us and never missed. In fact, we had a thing that went across our gun emplacement there. It says, 9 shots fired, 9 shots missed. To hell with Hirohito. But anyhow, after that, I transferred into the for paratroop training. Went to Fort Benning, Georgia, of course, like most of us. And from there, we went to Camp McCall in North Carolina. And I don't know how long we was there. Then they took a bunch of men, I don't know how many, and they were trying to form a cadre for a new division. They took mess sergeants and supply sergeants and all kinds of men, and they sent us to Florida, Fort Blanding or something like Camp Blanding, I guess. But it was the biggest infantry training post in the United States at the time, and they sent us down there to help recruit new volunteers into the paratroops. And we made quite a few jumps while we was there for war bond deals and this kind of thing. We really had a soft, easy racket. And anyhow, loved every minute of it. Then they transferred us back to Fort Benning, and they didn't start this new division that they were going to start. And they took this whole group that I was in, and they transferred us over to England. And when we got to England, that's when I got into the 21st. You wanted to know how much glider training that I received. I didn't really receive any glider training. The only thing I know about them was before we were to go into Holland, the pilots would take a guy and make him a co-pilot, tell him how to land this thing, and never try to dodge anything. That's the only thing I know about gliders, except I didn't like them. How much artillery training did you get? I really didn't get any. I bluffed my way into being a forward observer because I knew they parachuted in and didn't ride those dumb old gliders. And but I did have coast artillery, and I understood the basics of field artillery. I didn't go in there to endanger anybody. I knew what I was supposed to do. And early training days in the United States, well, I don't know, I made everything fun. I played hard and I worked hard, and I wasn't the ideal soldier. I probably was late more than anybody, and but I did enjoy my training pretty good. And the boat trip to England, why, it was uneventful. A lot of guys got sicker than dogs, but I made out all right in that problem. And we were at sea for 13 days. And let's see, what did you think of your officers and your outfit? My outfit was great as far as I was concerned. Short time I was with them. Officers, that was something else again. We had a commanding officer that had, excuse my French, but shit in his neck. He led us into a spot in Holland that we were about 6 or 8 or 10 miles from where we should have been, and we got this hell shelled out of us. And our captain got the guys out of there. They were all in ditches and everywhere else. Gave a march order, got us out of there, and took us back to where we belonged. And this colonel got a silver star for this goof up. That I didn't like. Then we had an officer, and I can't remember his name. He was a forward observer officer, and he was an Italian. That's all I can remember about the guy. And we finally, in Holland, I think there was 4 or 5 of these forward observing parties that they all refused to go out with this guy. And one of the reasons, when the last time I went out with him, we were in a basement of this church, and he gave a fire mission that had time firing, which you have to observe to adjust, and he did it from this basement. It was just a canned deal. He knew the Krauts was out in that area, so he just up and did her. And it was cases like this that, and anyhow, I understood they had asked us about this, and we told them what we thought. They transferred this hay shaker back to the States. That's the only punishment he got out of this deal. But anyhow, that's all I can remember about that part of it. Well, here's asking me about Whatcom Farms. We stayed in the stables, and that's about all I can remember about that. I joined the 321st just as they come back from Normandy. Filled up the ranks in that outfit. That's when I went to Whitcomb Farms, and we actually weren't in England